On the previous video, we explained the concept of SQL injection, and we saw that if the site is infected with SQL injection, I can start talking to the database, and the database can reply back to me with whatever I want. And I noticed that we can use that for bypassing an authentication, which we saw on the previous video. So I can write some SQL comment just to let me in without having a valid username or password. And I can even write some SQL comment if I know how to write SQL comment. I can write some SQL comments that allow me to change in the database, to browse information, to delete information, and so on. And by the way, I just want to point or to let you know that even if you don't know SQL syntax, even if you're not, you just need to detect a site detected with SQL injection. And there is a lot of application, and I'm going to show you one of those applications in an upcoming video that will do that on behalf of you. So you just click on a button, it will dump all the table. You click on the bottom, it will get you all the information that you want. So even if you are not good or you are not comfortable with learning SQL syntax, you don't have to. Tools will help you doing that. But the point is, you should be aware how to detect if the site is infected with SQL injection or not. Now let's go and take a proof of concept. I'm going to open the DAM vulnerable website, a web application. And on one of the video on this section, I explained how to set up and install this DVWA to be able to test whatever attack we are talking about. And I'm going to go to the SQL injection. And as you can see here, there is a field where you can write anything. So for instance, number 1, I need user ID number 1, and you click on submit. So it will show you that user ID number 1 is admin and his surname is admin. Number 2, now while I'm writing that, I want you to check the header. You notice that when I'm writing down 1, the URL will point to number 1 inside database. If I write number 2, the URL will be pointing to number 2 and you'll be getting number 2. What if I write number 50? Okay, they don't have a record under this name, so no information will be displayed. Now here is the point. If I write 50 and then I put this apostrophe like the previous example and write down or 1 equal 1, and then we put the hyphen, the hash. What is the explanation of this comment? I'm telling him, okay, put whatever you want, 50. I know that we don't have information with this 50. This could be username and password, so I'm writing anything. And then I'm telling him this apostrophe, it's telling, okay, could you ignore what I just wrote? So apostrophe means ignore what has been written. And could you just verify this 1 equal 1? And because the verification result will be true or false, and if it's true, it would let you in. So I put a syntax that definitely is true. What about this hash? Hash means ignore what has been requested in the program after that, if a password or whatever. And I click on submit. 50 apostrophe or 1 equal 1, then hash and submit. And as you can see, what happened is he dumped all the information inside the table. So I didn't wrote anything right. I just write to the SQL comment, could you verify that? And he told me, yes, we have a record under this name and that name and that name. So if this was the username and password, you'll be able to dump or you'll be able to log in without authenticate. Now the second question will be, how can I validate if a specific website is infected with SQL injection? Now, we can do that by just writing a part of the SQL comment. For instance, if I write down in this field apostrophe and I click on submit, apostrophe, it's a part of the SQL syntax. What should I have? I should get an error like that. That's mean, okay, you wrote in the field a part of the SQL comment, but actually I don't know what is the remaining of this comment. So he's replying back with an error. This is called the SQL injection error-based method. So just by writing down any SQL syntax, just any SQL syntax, and you click on enter, mainly apostrophe. If you get an error message, that means the database reply back to you, and it shows that you are writing a SQL comment, but it's not a complete, so it's telling you what is the remaining of this comment. While if the site was well designed, you should not have this error. So if you go to like any website, okay, that has authentication, so any website that has authentication, any login page, and you just, okay, you try to put apostrophe here and there, okay. If the site is not well, it's not well developed and designed, you should receive an error message. But if you click and you get invalid username and password, that means the database it's not replying back to you. So this is not a site that is infected with SQL injection. Now the second question is, this can be only tested on sites that has login page. What if I have a site that don't have a login page? Can I still test the SQL injection? Yes, you can. And you can do that from different URL by writing down URL here and SQL syntax in the URL. And if you keep doing that, if you get SQL error, that means that this site is infected with SQL injection. And on the last video of this section, I'm going to go, because actually this is very exhausting. What if the site has a lot of URL and a lot of sub URL? Are you keep crawling there? No, there is some tools that do that for you. So you give them a site, it keep manipulating the URL and putting SQL syntax and check if it's infected with SQL injection or not. So we don't have to do that manually, except my objective here is to understand the SQL injection. On the next video, I'm going to give you another proof of concept, and then we're going to move into a different kind of attack. By the way, by the end of this section, I'm going to give you one of the advanced attack, but actually I may have to remove some information from the video because you don't have an approval to test that on a specific website, while I do have an approval. So I cannot share with you the site name, but I'm going to show you the full attack from A to Z until you get whatever information is needed.